And stop. Okay, so if you'd all like to start by laying down on your back on your mat, and I'll join you. It's Fiona. Morning, Fiona. We've started the session. Lovely to see you. So if you start by laying down on your mat. Just take a moment to become accustomed to your new position. To find the comfiest position for now for you. And just to notice how your nervous system is picking up and all the stimulus, the stimuli, sounds, thoughts, feelings in the body, sensations. So that's what's going on. And this session and next term, we're going to focus on allowing our nervous system to self-regulate. For our endocrine system to function in a healthy way. And in order to help ourselves, quite often all we need is a little pause button where we're not doing anything, we're not achieving anything, we're just being present, relaxing, letting go of all demands and putting to one side any demands that we know or things that we need to do, things that we know are there. So we're not expected to be able to do this. We're not expected to be able to relax just like that. So all the practices that we'll work through now are to help that process, to help us. So if you start right now with one hand on your belly so that you're covering your navel and one hand on your upper chest. See if you can feel any movements in your body that result of your body breathing. This is our taking stock. So noticing the body at rest. There's no activity. And what we'll do is we'll contrast this state and how your breath feels now when we've been doing something a little bit more energetic or stronger. And also contrast that with when we're practicing calming practices or releasing and opening practices. So keep checking in. How's our nervous system responding now? Just let your breathing and the movements of breathing settle beneath your hands. So you have no expectations, no desired outcomes. Let your whole being rest. Just notice how difficult or easy that is now, and then we'll check in again at the end of the session to see if the practices have helped. You can now release your arms out to the sides. And just check that your spine is happy, that it has enough space along the ground and the shoulders can drop back towards the floor. So have your arms out to the sides of your body, sort of just below shoulder height, and see what it's like with your palms facing up. Wriggle a bit of space between your shoulder blades. Let your head roll from side to side. Just to check that you're as comfortable as possible. All this time still feeling like we're soothing the nervous system and letting the breath flow naturally. So easy breathing. I'm going to add a movement in and just see if you can stay with the awareness of your breathing as you start to sway your knees over to the right slightly, back to the centre and over to the left slightly. So anytime if you're not sure what we're doing, you can have a look at me. I presume you've all got on speaker view, or maybe you've got gallery view so that you can see each other as well. And then just notice your upper back, backs of your shoulders, head and neck. And notice as you make these movements, are you gathering any unnecessary tension through your upper body? And see if you can allow your upper body to remain soft and open and receptive to what you can feel. And then as you start to sway your legs to the right, let your head roll to the left. And start to let go of the weight of your legs a little more. So your legs start to release down towards the floor. Surrendering to the effects of gravity. So knees and head return to the centre at the same time. And then head releases to the opposite side to your legs. And then have your focus on the top leg. So as you release your legs to one side, see if you can let the top leg join the bottom leg. So how much can you relax that top leg so that it can naturally just fall into and towards the ground. So without pushing, you're surrendering to the effects of gravity. Then as you make these movements, feel into your spine and any other areas that feel a little bit tight. And wherever you can feel any tightness, just really give all your attention there, unjudgmental attention. And see if you just deeply relax through those areas. That means unrelax is okay, tight is okay. You're not trying to make a change. Instead, notice what happens when you allow those sensations to just be with you. Without trying to fix anything. So stay in listening mode, in sensing mode. Try that out for yourself in this moment. And just a couple more to each side, and then remain over to one side. And just be with each moment, each sensation, in a very, very light way. And so notice your body, notice how things are. Scanning your body, noticing where you can feel breathing. You feel you're breathing more in your belly, in your chest, through your nostrils. Just accept where you can feel it right now. That's the truth for now. Just let it be. So rather than reacting to what we can feel and to each moment, we give some space, some time. And then we wait for a response. There may be no response. That's fine too. Maybe there's no response needed. That's what we're looking to find out, so that we can have a bit more rest. And releasing to the other side. So these are slow, restful movements. We'll now make some slightly more energetic movements. So if you draw your thighs up towards your body and take your arms in the air, just take some circles through the wrists and ankles and make those circles as very loose and free, and the rest of your body can relax onto the floor. Then speed those circles up and notice if your breathing rate speeds up. So more energetic, more oxygen is required. So check that you're not restricting your breathing. And you can breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Then give your hands and feet a good old shake out. So floppy, floppy, floppy arms, floppy feet, floppy legs, good old shake. Really loose. Like you're trying to shake off some gloves and socks. And then relax your arms along the floor, back to your arms, and you can kick your heels away towards your buttocks, like a little mini tantrum. And let the rest of your body be moved. So just check that you're not bracing through your upper body or bracing through your arms, and let your upper body be nice and soft. And then release your legs along the floor. Have your feet slightly wider than hip distance apart. Just be with the sensations that are arising. Any tingling in the hands and feet. And just watch as your body responds to that new stimulus. Let your breathing cover. So your breathing will recover naturally. You don't need to do anything, just observe. And then if you roll over onto one side, so you're on the side of your body, maybe if you all roll onto, oh, that doesn't matter, just roll onto one side and work out the lefts and rights. And have your thighs at right angles to your body. You can have a look so that it gives space through your lower back. And then see if you can rest your head on the floor. And then you might need to jiggle and wiggle around a bit so that you can find a place to rest your head. If that's uncomfortable for you, you can always place a small cushion or a folded blanket underneath your head. But ideally, we'll allow that nice S shape. And then start to relax through the side of your body that's closest to the ground. Just check that the side of your waist is dropped, the side of your rib cage, and let your body settle for a bit in this new position. And then what we're going to do is trail your fingers along the ground above your head, like you're drawing a rainbow above your head, all the way. And then let your head turn to follow your arm all the way behind you. And now your arm is like the wind on a sail on a windmill. So just complete that circle and bring your arm and hand back. So the top hand on the top of the bottom hand. So the idea here is that you really keep relaxing through your arm, through the weight of your body. Let your arm be very relaxed and let your chest open up all the way to the back. So you let your rest of your body facilitate and comply with this big movement, opening through the shoulders, armpits, chest, and upper back. So a couple more times and just feel your way through. What can you feel in your body? Where feels tight? Any areas that feel particularly sticky or tight, slow down over those areas. Deepen your breath. Feel the sensations connect. And notice if that new opportunity to respond in a completely novel way in each moment, or whether or not we just easily and quickly move into automatic pilot where we're not really aware of what we can feel. So we'll stay with what's here. And then the next time you bring your hands together, just rest there for a few moments. And then you're going to turn so that you are rolled onto the other side of your body. And we'll make the same preparations here. So settling yourself on the other side of your body. And checking the side of your body that's closest to the ground. It's relaxing and releasing towards the floor. Side of your waist, side of your rib cage. And wiggle around so that you're comfortable and your head can rest on the floor or onto some support blanket. Eyes right angles to your body. And then start to relax through your shoulders, through your head. And then when you're ready, start to trace that big circle, like the arms on the clock face, all the way round and behind you. Let your chest open all the way out. And let your upper body roll with that movement. And then slow things down a little bit so you've got chance to notice, chance to be present. Really look, really feel each moment. Where can you feel this? Is there any opportunity to let go of unnecessary effort? Largely unnecessary effort manifests as embodied tension. And just enjoy that fluid movement, that opportunity to release tension. Where you find it. Just continuing to notice if you're holding on to the weight of your arm, or if you can let go of the weight of your arm and surrender the weight of your arm to the effects of gravity. That then creates a passive release rather than any pushing or forcing, which only increases tension. And then notice, are there any sensations in other parts of your body that you may not have noticed because you were just focusing on the obvious place, the places that speaking to you more loudly? Are there any other areas? And the next time you bring your hands together, you just rest there. And then feel the contrast of how it is when you're not moving. And then slowly coming onto your back, rolling onto your back. So with your knees bent and your feet flat to the floor again, your arms along the side of your body. So the movement here is just very simply raising your arms up towards the ceiling and then releasing your arms behind so they rest onto the ground. If they don't rest onto the ground, don't worry. If you do have a cushion handy or a rolled up blanket, then you can always rest your hands onto that. Or you can bend your elbows so that your upper arms can rest on the floor at least. So we'll synchronise that with breath. So breathing in, arms floating up overhead, like your arms are seaweed being moved by the current in the sea. So very soft. And then floating back down as you exhale. So inhaling and exhaling. And start to feel your breath in your belly first as you inhale. And let your body expand upwards, up your spine, all the way up through your thoracic chest, upper back, into your neck and head. So exhaling, emptying from the top down, breathing in from the bottom up. Okay, I'm going to put a small count to that breath. So breathing into the count of 4. So breathing in, 2, 3, 4, arms above the head. Slight pause for 2. And then out for 4, 2, 3, 4. And just rest for 2. Just allowing that really short pause, suspension between breath. This helps us to slow down, slow our reactivity. So we've got time to notice. Your body's got time to recover. Let's see how that is for you. If you're new to this, these breathing ratios, there's some means to an end. They're not a way to breathe normally. If you're new to this, just notice how it is. Not looking for it to feel perfectly normal or comfortable, just however it is. So let's do 2 more of those. And allowing your arms to relax during those pauses. So it feels like a real rest point. And then 1 more round, just in your own way. And then just let your breathing recover. So if when you took your arms overhead, you could rest the tops of your arms and shoulders onto the ground, then you can take your arms overhead for the next still movement, or you can take your arms out to the side slightly and have your elbows bent at right angles. If that's uncomfortable for your shoulders at all, that your back of your shoulders can't relax, then take your arms back down by your sides with the palms facing down. That's also fine. So just choose which is more comfortable for you. And what we'll start to do, these very subtle movements, is on the out breath, so take an in breath first. On your out breath, start to press through your feet and send your knees over your toes, away from you. So sending your knees away from you. And see what happens. See what you can feel in your lower body, what starts to get involved. So on the out breath, you send your knees away from you. And on the in-breath, you release your knees back to where they were. So again, if you're not sure what this means, you can have a look. But exhaling, pressing through the feet, sending the knees away from you, letting your tailbone just curl off the floor. That's going to happen anyway. And then notice how this feels. And maybe try either taking your heels a bit closer to your buttocks or your heels a bit further away to see which is the best place for you to feel the most support and ease. For your spine, particularly your lower back. So you're going to let your spine peel off, and then you can start to let your hips float up a bit higher. Tuck your chin into your chest, so the back of your neck stays nice and long. And you're just rolling on the spine, so like a massage for your spine. At that moment when you press your feet and send your knees away, just notice at that moment what's getting involved here. Is there any way you can let go of unnecessary effort and keep this nice and soft, body soft? So you want to avoid buttocks clenching and stomachs clenching and tension, increasing tension. Just use that resistance of the feet into the ground, legs allowing your knees to come away from you. Hugging their thighs towards each other so that your knees stay up towards the ceiling. So you really can feel that it's your legs doing the work here. And the next time you raise your hips all the way up, if you haven't got your arms overhead, you can try that now. Just let your arms float up overhead. And then you can keep your arms there as you release your spine back down. It can be quite a nice little massage for the spine. So just curling your spine back down. And if you take your knees wide and your feet wide, so taking your arm back to shoulder height now, out to the side. So feet as wide as the mat if you can, and knees really nice and wide as well. The same movement we started with, where you release your knees to one side and your head to the opposite side, keeping your feet wide and your knees wide, and relaxing through the weight of the legs. And feel that nice opening through the front of one hip and into the lower back. Let your head roll to the opposite side and see how much you can let your body enjoy these movements. It feels like a nice release. Okay, so next time you come to the centre, if you draw your thighs up towards your body and have your lower legs relaxed, feet are relaxed, and your arms down by your side, your palms facing down. So you might want to have a little look first before you attempt this. You may be familiar with it already. So we're going to breathe in, let your arms float up overhead, same breath from the belly all the way up. And then as you exhale and your arms come back down, as they did last time, you then release your legs up to the ceiling and draw your feet back towards you. So it opens up the backs of your legs. So inhaling, knees bend, arms come overhead. Exhaling, arms return to your sides, legs extend, draw your feet back at your ankles, lead with your heels, just so you feel that nice opening through the backs of your legs. Spread your toes, draw your toes back. So inhaling and exhaling. And if you want to, you can tuck your chin and let your upper body curl up as you exhale towards your legs. If that feels like there's no strain on your neck, and that feels nice to do that. You can have a go and find out if it's for you or not. Okay, last one. And then release your arms down by your sides, release your feet, release your legs along the ground. You place your hands either onto your tummy, over your navel, or one hand over your navel and one hand over your chest. And then tune back in again with what you can notice. We're not looking for a particular outcome. You're not trying to create anything. You don't need to create anything. It's just noticing what's already here. That's a restful pursuit. Notice if it's easier to feel your breathing now. You have more mind-body connection. And for those of you that know this, I'm going to roll on the spine and roll up to sitting. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with this, you can by all means have a go, but it's a rolling back and forth. So it's really important that you keep your chin tucked into your chest and your head rolled up. So you roll with one unit, one ball. So there's a little bit of momentum involved. So you keep your legs tucked up and roll on the spine. That might be something you want to practice at home first. Check out where you're breathing. When you're breathing in to come up and breathing out to roll back. And just making sure you keep the back of the neck very long and your chin tucked in. So don't let your head come to. That makes sense. And then the next time you come forwards, you roll forwards. We'll take our legs wider and give your legs a little shake. And give your shoulders a roll. And then just roll the legs in and out, in and out. And if you take your feet wide and your knees wide, you just turn around behind you. Just release the spine a little bit. So prop yourself up on your arms, come back to the centre, turn around to face behind you. And your arms are straight. You can lean, let your body weight lean through your arms. And relax through your pelvic area, legs, belly, lower back. So we're going to come to all fours. So make sure you've got enough padding for your knees. And if need be, you can roll your mat, fold your mat so you've got a little bit of extra padding for your knees. And then coming to all fours, see how you can support yourself through your arms and legs so that your belly can relax, so that your lower back can relax, so your chest can relax and your upper back. So there's no tension there. Now this is a little funny one. Those of you that have dogs or know people with dogs, it will seem make a bit more sense. But imagine you're a dog and you have a longer tail than we have, and then you're going to give your tail a really nudge. loose shake. Now, if the rest of your body is nice and loose, that means your spine will also move. But that happens naturally, so just focus on shaking your tail and moving your hips from side to side quite vigorously but not recklessly. And then come to the centre again. And then we're going to look up and imagine that your neck starts at your lower spine, like a snake looking up, so like a cobra snake raising its head. Your tailbone moves back and up, and you are looking up from the base of your spine. And then you're going to look backwards towards your navel. So in order to look towards your navel, you can lift your armpits up, let your toes down, and then move the other way. So go between those two movements. Of looking up and looking back, and start to feel into your body. And notice how your breathing is being affected by these movements. So what can you feel as you move in this way? Can you move in a way that feels more comfortable, easier? Can you slow it down so you've got a chance to notice how you could move in a way that feels more comfortable, more enjoyable? And let your head completely hang when you look back towards your navel. Let go of any tension in your buttocks. Just your spine is opening in one direction and then opening in the other direction. The next time you round your spine and you're looking back towards your navel, start to sit back and sit all the way back onto your heels. Have your arms right out in front of you, your forearms resting on the floor and your forehead. So a little rest point here. Let your breathing recover. Then very slowly come back up to all fours. Tuck your toes under, so spread your toes and tuck them under. Walk your hands back towards you, and then sitting back onto your heels just for a moment, just to notice how your feet feel. Now, if that's very, very uncomfortable / painful, then walk your hands forwards, release your toes, and sit back onto the fronts of your feet. So you can go between those two, just to gradually open up the soles of your feet. If that then starts to become more comfortable, that's okay. You can have a little move from side to side. And also, you could then use your hands to support you. Take your weight back, so you take your knees off the floor, and then start to just move your knees around. So you can take your knees wide, so you're onto the balls of your feet. And you're going to move your knees around. Lovely. Okay, then placing your knees back down on the floor. And release your feet and sit back onto the fronts of your feet. Take your hands back behind you, so a little bit behind you. I'm going to take a breath in, that full breath from the belly all the way up the chest. So breathing in, let your shoulder blades slide together. Exhale, release. So it's the breath in that creates that opening through your chest. Exhale, just a few little chest opening breaths. And you can look up towards the ceiling if that feels comfortable for your neck.
Going to take your hands back in front of you now. So back to all fours, tucking your toes under, and sit all the way back. So take your hips all the way back towards your heels. Take your arms out in front of you, so take your hands further forward in front of you, to a place where you can lean through your hands and arms with your arms straight. So what we're going to explore here is letting your legs lift your knees just a tiny bit off the floor. So not too much going on through the hands and arms, just a bit of leaning. But your legs, just let your knees just lift a tiny bit off the floor and back down again. Maybe on the out breath, so breathing in, breathing out, lift the knees, breathing in, place them back down again. The next time you breathe out and lift your knees, then as you inhale, you can unfold your legs, let your heels drop towards the floor. Your hips, you can let them lift up and back. So that your upper body, your head is below your heart, your spine is inverted and hanging. So give your head a little shake. If that's too strong for you, you haven't done this for a while, then come back onto your knees. So do that whenever you need to. So move between the two. Come onto your knees, release your feet, sit all the way back, take your forearms down, head to the floor in child pose. So this is the resting position, so just practice this first. So you know how to rest when you need to. And then you can take your arms behind you with your palms facing up. And really relax through your shoulders, centre of your upper back between your shoulder blades. And start to let go of the weight of your head and your shoulders and your chest. So that's a rest point. So then coming back up, so that means that then you can do as little or as much as you want to here. So sitting all the way back, the way we come into that inversion, and because Svanasana is also downward facing dog or an inverted V shape. So you sit all the way back, toes tucked under, lean through your arms, let your legs do the work, exhaling to lift your knees off the floor a tiny bit, and then let your legs unfold, release your heels. And then when you're in this inverted V, you can release one knee and drop the other heel to the ground. Relax through the backs of your legs. So alternately releasing back from the legs. And whenever you feel that's enough, then you come back onto your knees, release your feet. Sit back and rest in child pose. So that contrast between that sort of quite strong activity and the resting, just notice how your nervous system is, how your body feels. So that you don't impose this on yourself. So you're inviting and exploring these different shapes through what you can feel and responding to what you can feel in a way that feels right for you, feels good for your body, feels pleasurable. So Christine, if you just try walking your feet slightly further back and then let your hips travel back towards your heels and your tailbone up and bend your knees slightly more so that your arms come in line with your spine. So if you deeply bend your knees in that position just for the moment and then take your hips all the way back over your heels so that you're in that real inverted V position so that your shoulders can relax. Play around with it anyway. I'm sure you've got your own way of practicing this, which is absolutely fine. Yeah, that's lovely. I don't know if you can feel the difference there in that position.
But just make sure you keep your knees nice and soft, sort of alternate, bending one knee, releasing the opposite leg, rather than locking out through the legs or locking out through the knees. And just give your head a little shake to check that you're totally relaxed and soft through the back of the neck. That's lovely. And then coming down to rest in child pose. When you need to. Then take that rest. So just notice what it's like to be still. Is it challenging to be still? So whatever you notice, see if you can accept that without trying to change it, rather than trying to create a sense of rest or trying to get rid of a sense of unrest. You're just accepting what's here already, which is much more relaxing. Because there's nothing to do. Just wait for your body to recover completely. So you know when you feel ready to move on. And when you feel ready to move on, coming back to all fours, we're going to do an opposing movement to that down facing dog. So this time releasing your toes, so not onto the balls of your feet. And walking your hands, so from all fours, from position all fours, sitting back, the hands in front of you, coming back to all fours, and then move your hands one hand length forwards in front of you. And with straight arms, imagine you're doing the same as we did on the all fours position, where you're looking up from the base of your spine, looking up, and let your pelvis drop and relax towards the floor. So you're looking up from the very base of your spine, like a cobra snake. And then coming back to all fours, sitting all the way back, walking your hands one hand length back, and rest your head down. Coming up, walk your hands one length forwards, looking all the way up, releasing your pelvis. And then sitting all the way back. So we can move between the two, downward facing dog and upward facing dog. We won't do that today, but in your own practice, we would look a little bit like this, so tucking your toes under, walking your hands back, unfolding your legs, and then just try it once. Into downward dog, releasing your knees, releasing your toes, walking your hands forward, and coming up into upward or hanging dog. And just checking that you're not compressing the lower vertebrae by really rising up through the front of your chest, front and up. And then just sitting back now with wide knees, feet together, wide knees, forearms down, and let your head rest. So let your belly rest between your legs, so knees nice and wide, so there's lots of space for your belly to totally relax and drop. Then coming back up to all fours slowly. And tucking your toes under, lifting your knees off the floor and walking your hands back towards you so that you're over into this sort of hanging forward bend. Really, really deep bend in your knees so your upper body can hang and relax. And then like a ragdoll, just slowly rolling up, breathing easily. All the way up, breathe in and out deeply. Just check your blood pressure as you come up. And give your shoulders a nice roll. So you might need to adjust your screen and just tip your camera up a little bit so I can see you. But as long as I can see enough of you, that's fine. And give your shoulders a nice loose roll. And then we'll give our legs a shake. So one knee forward, one knee back, and then speeding dip up. Shake, shake, shake. Shake the buttock flesh off the bone. Shake the thigh flesh off the bone. Give your arms a shake as well. And give your arms a shake above your head. Good old shake out. Floppy, floppy, floppy. And then take your arms down. And just stand for a moment. So get used to this standing position, also the vigorous shaking, the effects, the sensations that are arising right now. And just notice your response. Do you try to analyse or judge? Can you just let those sensations be and not do anything? So feel into your belly, just check you're not holding your belly unnecessarily, the lower back, check you're not locked out the backs of your knees. And we'll take a change of air. So breathing in, taking your palms up. And breathing out, sighing out. Breath in. And breath out. And breath in. And breath out. And then we're going to roll down. So let go of the weight of your head first. And let your head hang, your shoulders hang. Check in with your buttocks that are not tensing. Let your arms hang away from the body. Let your upper body hang really deep in the bend in your knee so that your upper body can fold forward. And take the weight into the fronts of your feet slightly. And then roll up. Okay, do that once more. Okay, I'm going to take the arms up and then looking up from, as if you're looking up from your navel, so your whole body gets involved and your front of your body opens as you look up. So that looking up's coming from the base of the spine. And then we're going to look back towards your navel, so arms come down and hands. Arms can come up. Have a look if you're not sure. And then inhaling. So arms come up behind you when you look towards your navel, and as you look up, arms come up in front of the body. And as you look back, the arms go down, and then palms lift up behind you. And just a couple more of those, so that you can then start to enjoy the sensations. So notice what the sensations are, and move in a way that feels best for you. Lower your arms down. And we'll take a change of air, breathing in, arms up, and breathing out. Twice more, so it's like a reset or refresh on your computer. So have a little go at doing. This is the sort of Tibetan healing exercise tapping. So if you give your hands a little slap, backs of the hand, palms of the hand, wring your hands a little bit, give them a good old rub. A bit like the hand washing we've been doing, isn't it? Actually, backs of your hands, we're expert hand washers now. Give your hands a nice rub. It's lovely. So I'll show you first what we're going to do, just to remind those who've done it before and to show you if you've never done it before. So we breathe in, and then we're going to tap down the inside. And we breathe in, and repeat that twice more. We'll do it together in a minute. Then we breathe in, and we tap down the sides, or the outsides of your legs 3 times. So you start from the top, breathe in, and out down sides. And then the last set of 3 is breathe in, and then you tap from the lower back, all down back to your thighs, back to your legs. Breathe in, and the out breath, repeat that twice more. So we do 3 lots of 3. So the first lot are down the insides of your legs. So we'll breathe in, and exhaling, tapping. So very loose hands, loose wrists. Flat. Breathing in. So just check your wrists aren't stiff, and your hands are really floppy. Breathe in. One more down the inside. All the way down the inside of the legs. Breathe in. Then down the sides. Start your hips. Start your waist. And all the way down the outside. Breathe in. Breathe in. More. Breathing in down the back, start with your lower back. Okay. And we take a change of air. So after that last set, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. One more. Okay, so what we're going to do now is release your right fingertips down towards your right foot and notice how your body responds. So back to the centre. So does the side of your body that's bending, can it relax? Can you let it go a bit quiet? So that facilitates. So your hips sort of swing out to one side. So to the opposite side to your bending. Whichever side you're bending towards, the hips, opposite hip swing, the opposite side. That's it. And if you want to, you can take that arm up. So as you bend, those fingertips come closer to the foot, to that side. Just feel that opening in the sides of your body, rather than, so really notice, where is there any pushing? Is there any forcing? Can you relax into this? Can you soften? Wherever you feel any tightness, can you soften into that area? And let your breath help out, so breathing into the centre and out as you open up. That's lovely. Okay, exhaling. So coming to the centre, another change of air 3 times, inhaling. A real sigh, that end of the day feeling when you can sit down and relax. Everything's done for the day. One more. Okay. So if we take our legs a bit wider now, have your feet parallel to start with, so that you can soften through your knees and check that your tailbone can drop slightly and your belly can relax. And then turn your right foot out 90 degrees and your back foot maybe in slightly, but parallel to the back of the mat is absolutely fine. And then we're going to soften your knee so that you feel like you feel the stability through your feet and you don't feel stuck. Feel like more natural. And then breathing in, take your arms up to the side, breathing out, relax your shoulders as if you're resting your hands on two blocks, tower blocks of books. Okay, so we're going to take a breath in and out here. So a breath in and a sigh out. As you breathe in, lower that back arm and the knee is bent slightly, bring that arm up, so breathing in. And then breathing out, arms come back to the sides. Breathing in, you're going to move towards that foot that's turned out 90 degrees. And then breathing out, looking up and raising your arm up. That's it. So breathing in, breathing out, we'll do that one more time. Breathing in, back arm to the back leg goes down. Inhaling, front arm comes up. Exhaling, arms back to the center. Inhaling, reach to that front leg. And exhaling, front arm drops down, back arm comes up. That's it, lovely. So it's a bit like a triangle. And inhaling, exhaling. So do that to the other side. So turn one foot out 90 degrees. The back foot either parallel to the back of the mat or turned in slightly. So we'll say that this leg is the front leg and the front arm, and then we've got the back leg and the back arm. There's us having to look at left and right. So inhale and exhale, so that you rest your shoulders and rest your arms. And inhaling, back arm drops, front arm comes up. Feel that opening through the front of your body. Lovely. Exhaling, arms come back to the center. Inhaling, reach over that front leg. Exhaling, relax that front arm. Back arm comes all the way up. And you can either look forward, look down, or look up, depending on how your neck is. Inhaling, do that once more to that side. Exhaling, relax your shoulders. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. So last one of this set, turning that foot out 90 degrees again. Now have your feet slightly wider this time. That foot is parallel to the back of your mat. And there's a bend in this front knee. So a slight bend in this front knee. Inhaling, taking your arms up. Exhaling, let your shoulders relax. Inhaling, same as before, the front arm lifts up, looking up. Exhaling, back to the center. Inhaling, reach over that front leg towards it. Exhaling, just relax this front arm and let it just hang and rest on your leg. And the other arm comes all the way overhead. So your arm, body and leg are in one line, and you can look up if that feels nice. And then just have a little wiggle there so you can find a spot that feels good for you. And inhaling, exhaling, do that once more. Inhaling, one arm comes up. Exhaling to the center. Inhaling, reach forwards. Exhaling, arm comes all the way over. Inhale, so your arms are floating, like your body's made of light. Turn your feet, so the opposite foot now turns at 90 degrees, back foot at right angle, so the back of your mat. Bend that front knee. Inhaling, exhaling, rest your hand on those towers of imaginary books. Your arms can relax. Inhaling, looking up. Exhaling. Inhaling, reaching over that front leg to the side. Relax your arm, exhaling. The arm comes all the way over. Feel that opening, feel that whole, that side of your body. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Exhaling. So if you turn your feet now to face forwards, so your feet are parallel, with your hands on your hips, soften through your knees a little bit. We're going to inhale, and as you exhale, hinge from your hips so that your back comes to like a tabletop position. And see if you can find the floor with your fingertips. And see if you can rest through your fingertips. Bend your knees slightly if you need to. If you can't reach the ground, you can always put another time you can put a block there to rest on. So bend your knees as deeply as you need to so that you can support yourself with your hands. If you can take the palms of your hands onto the floor and do, let your head hang and let your upper body hang. A little shift from side to side, bend one knee, release the other knee. Just nice and loose. And give a moment so you can feel your body in position. Bend your knees deeply and then walk your feet in towards each other. And roll up like a rag doll. And we're going to take a change of air. So breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And one more breath in and breathing out. And then just stand. So either with your eyes gently closed or gently open. If your eyes are gently open, just take a point to rest your gaze upon. And then be with the resulting sensations, the after effect, like the after flavour of the movement. And give yourself your wholehearted attention, your open, unjudgmental attention, like you're listening to a very dear friend. You just want to give them time and space. You just want to listen, you don't want to add, you don't want to try and fix anything. You just want to hear them, let them be heard. So we can do this for ourselves as well. Let yourself be heard. Let yourself just be. So these are the contrasting experiences. And we can notice how our bodies self-regulate. Anyway, that's happening already. We don't need to add, we don't need to take away. We can just rest. So your mind can have a rest. You don't need to think or work anything out. There's absolutely nothing to do right now. Now give your shoulders a nice roll. You can let your head hang a little. That feels uncomfortable. Nice and loose, loose, loose. Okay, so I'm going to sit for the last part of the session. So you need to gather now any supports, cushions, blocks to sit on. Before we do find our final seated position, then maybe a release out as we did before, knees wide, feet wide, and just turn me behind you. Just ease out the spine, like an undoing of any tension in the spine. And then if you want to, you can come to laying back just briefly. And have little rolls on the base of your spine. So massage and ease through your spine, and the lower back and on the spine. And then having your thighs close to your body, just release your legs loosely over to one side. Your head roll to the opposite side. So as we did before, but this time with the feet off the floor and the thighs closer to your body. Let your legs really relax and be nice and floppy as the rest of your body too. And surrender to gravity. Let your head roll to the opposite sides of it. Just loose and ease out there. So make sure that you're ready to sit. So if you're not used to sitting on the ground, you can sit in a chair or on the sofa. But even for really experienced people that have sat on the ground a long time for these practices, then it's always very useful to have a small support to sit on. So if you haven't got that, then if you've got a handy sofa cushion or seat cushion. And then easy folded legs, or you can kneel. So other option, you can kneel on some blocks or cushions this way. See how your knees are, but I know some of you have a few knee issues, then you can try just sitting with your knees wide and your feet flat to the floor and your arms just rested on your legs. That's a nice position if your knees aren't happy. So I'm giving you these different options so that you can mix it up. So if we sit for a little while, you can change your position after a while. The last one to show you is just to have one heel into your perineum there, and then the other leg released along the ground. And then after a while, you can swap that round the other way. So lots of different options there, because what we don't want is to feel that we're becoming stiff and uncomfortable sitting, because that will distract us from allowing the mind to rest. So choose your position. Maybe roll down your trousers so that you can really relax your belly, especially if they're tight around your waist. And then either with your eyes gently closed or with your eyes gently open, either way, have a sort of wide peripheral view. So feel into your eyes and let your eyes relax, the eyeballs relax. And then take a little body scan. So starting with your lower body, feeling into the space behind your navel, the front of your lumbar spine. And let your attention rest there gently. And let your body rest there. So any sensations are allowed to spread. Feel that weight through your pelvis. And more of a connection through this area of your body, sit bones onto the cushion or onto the ground. And start to relax your legs, or let your legs relax. Relax means unrelaxed is okay. So let them be basically however they are. and then your lower back and your belly. And then move up your body and feel that your spine can feels buoyant. So from the stability of the lower body, the support of the ground, where your lower body can sink into the ground and spread and feel totally safe and supported, and your upper body can be allowed to be light and feel lifted through your spine, so buoyant, like your upper body is made of air bubbles, like a chocolate aerodoll, which in fact our bodies are mostly space. More space than anything else, turns out. So we're not solid, even though we perceive ourselves as solid. So feel that lightness in your body, like your body is made of air, your body is made of light particles. And then feeling into your shoulders, give your shoulders a roll. Yeah, nice horrible sound, probably hear that through my AirPods and my shoulders crunching. And let your shoulders drop. And then feel that your hands are rested on your thighs. And your arms are rested. And then moving up your body, feel the spot, the place at the base of your tongue, the root of your tongue, where your tongue joins. And let that kind awareness just arrive there, very quietly, very gently, no demands. It's here, definitely here. And feel that sense of acceptance of whatever you feel spread through your back of your neck, throat, jaws, mouth, tongue, so that this area of the body can relax and rest. And then feeling into the backs of your eyes, back of your eye sockets. And really feel that your eyes can rest. You don't need to look. Eye muscles can spread. You don't want to try to make this happen, you're just allowing the possibility. And then noticing what you can feel. It's very open, very kind, very accepting, whatever is here for you right now. You just let it be. Give it lots of space. No resistance. No trying to work it out. No trying to get rid of things. No trying to add things. Much less work here to do. In fact, it turns out there's nothing to be done. What's that like? What's that feel like for you right now? Maybe just for a moment you feel that feeling of safety and peace. And you can rest, and you can be. And feeling the space behind the centre of your eyebrows, deep into the centre of your head, behind your forehead. Letting go of all unnecessary effort. And in just a few moments to be here before we need to move on. Just so we can become a little bit more familiar with this place. Sometimes referred to in the teachings as home. It was like home, but we've created our own safety. Our own security, where we can blossom and feel free sometimes we get a little glimpse of that feeling. So the reason we sit for a little bit longer, maybe a few more minutes only, is so we just become more familiar with that natural state. It's already here. We just maybe usually don't recognize it because our mind is busy elsewhere, body is busy elsewhere. So this sitting practice is just to balance the activity. To allow recalibration our nervous systems to self-regulate. This is not a new skill. Our bodies are already experts at this. We just step out of the way mentally. Allow this to happen. And then we notice what it feels like. And we find out. And we know what feels right, what feels useful, what doesn't feel useful to us. We already know this. We don't need anybody else to tell us how to be, what to think, how to behave. We have our own inner wisdom, intuition. So in these practices we learn to recognise, sit with and trust. So you could say that in our everyday life, sometimes if we feel a bit overwhelmed, we don't feel very well. It's like we're a bit homesick. We need to come home for a few moments. We need to touch base. We need to ground, find safety. And then we can be good to go again. So when you're ready, you can slowly blink open your eyes. You can release your legs. Do this nice and gently. Your legs a little release out, roll, and then bounce on the backs of the knees. Minutes. So something that I've been in the summer weeks started studying on a course actually that's about trauma recovery, and learning about the nervous system and the polyvagal nervous system. Very interesting, exciting stuff. All of which I shall share with you, as usual, we can discuss. So in the autumn term, that's going to be the theme, regulating the nervous system, all about that sort of thing. So low-lying stress, we experience all sorts of traumatic events and sometimes like an accident or ongoing sort of challenges, emotional challenges, that sort of thing. But one thing I came across in one of the lectures was how animals regulate. And the story was about a gazelle that was being studied, and it had just been chased. I can't remember what type of large cat it was, but a large cat, let's say. And it had been being chased for a long time, and it was almost caught, but not quite. So if it had been caught, it would have been eaten. And the gazelle obviously felt this in its nervous system. And when it finally escaped, it stood and tremored all over for quite a few minutes, and shook and tremored. And then stopped, and then, oh, here I go again, happy as anything, nibbling around. And it's the way that, apparently, so I'm learning that the way we release is also the same. In fact, one of my private clients, who's an ex-detective, chief constable detective in the police force, he was saying that, people have shock, they shake, and they have shock, and they have someone's burgled, they tremor.
So a lot of the Tibetan healing exercises, you know, that we did the tapping and the shaking, and this all makes sense, doesn't it? It's all making sense to me. You know, these are traditions that have been around for thousands of years, and now the science is catching up, and the neuroscientists are looking into all of this. And so it makes me happy, because I think, well, I knew anyway that when we, you know, massage, tap, shake out, then relax, you can feel that release of sort of in-body tension. So I thought I'd share that with you.
And anyone that's watching the recording, because now I'll stop the recording and I'll mute everybody. So